my family and friends who tell me, what is this you're doing? What is cybersecurity? What is cybercrime?
We don't know where the next steps are going to take us.
And that's where my journey has been with the PCI Security Standard Council. But today, this is the future.
Hello and welcome everybody to the new podcast from One Cyber Valley. Today I have the pleasure of having Mr. Nitin Bhatnagar from the PCI Council. He's Regional Director of India, South Asia, and now, new to his portfolio, the Middle East as well. So welcome Nitin.
Thank you, Parminder, and thank you One Cyber Valley for inviting me to this podcast. And it's lovely to be here in Mumbai, in Powai, in the West, in a good place.
I've known Nitin for a few years now, and he's up and coming through the industry, and we're so delighted to have him with us today. And today we're going to cover a lot of content. We will give you an insight into India as well. So that'll be coming up. But what we're going to be talking to Nitin about is about his upcoming into the industry, how he's got to where he is today, what he's done. I'll share some of my experiences as well. And then we'll also be talking about the PCI standards as well. The new version 4 is here. It's been here for the last 2 years, but Nitin's been working tirelessly in the backdrop, trying to get it familiarized with the organizations around the world. And then we're going to be talking about the upcoming PCI Council annual meetings as well, which are happening in Boston, Barcelona, and Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City this year. So tell me, Nitin, how did it all start for you? Where did you start with PCI? What brought you to PCI?
I think it has been a long journey for me, and I started my career, when I was doing my bachelor's. Let me go a little back on my bachelor's days, when I did my bachelor's in computer engineering. In my 4th year of my bachelor's, one of my good friend told me, there's something called cybersecurity, and I was very passionate about cybersecurity. And I still remember, we don't have those kind of fancy projectors at that point of time. We have to create slides, put it on the projectors to show to the world that what we are doing. And I presented first presentation in Gwalior, and I think that was the time I got excited about cybersecurity and cybercrime. Yeah. I started understanding what are different kinds of cybercrimes are, and that's how my journey started. And one of my friend told me, I have to do this. I said, let me do this. And this was a good course of Masters in Cybersecurity, Cyber Law and Information Security from Indian Institute of Information Technology, Allahabad. And
my colleagues have done that. Not in the screenshot, but they
absolutely. So that's where my journey started in the field of cybersecurity way back in 2007. Right? It's been quite a long journey for me where I am today. But cybersecurity was something which was trying to keep me updated about what's happening. Where are we leading to? We heard about the companies where they're working on softwares, technologies, but this was the menace which was coming on the way for all of us. Yep. And that is visible today, right? And that's where I envisioned, 2007, 2006, when I was doing my bachelor's, I have to do this something. And I have to be a little different from what others are doing. And I remember my family and friends who tell me, what is this you're doing? What is cybersecurity? What is cybercrime? Yeah. And it was not even a buzzword at that point of time. It was something really new. And some of my father's friend told me, to my father, he said, there's no future to this. But today, this is the future. We are all, dealing with sophisticated tools, technologies. There are new emerging technologies which are shaping the future. Right? Mm-hmm. We are talking about AI, we are talking about quantum, we are talking about a lot of things. And payment security was one of the area that, I picked up, after completion of my, Masters in Information Security and Cyber Law. Yeah. And then, I started working with one of the leading consulting firm, and then the career path just keep on growing. Traveled almost like close to 80 countries in my last 15 years. Wow. And I've been visiting again and again to these countries to spend time, speaking to the stakeholders, meeting regulators, meeting, the government, meeting, all that I could think of in the payment security that we could meet. And that's where the all my journey all about, right? And I joined PCI Security Standard Council way back in 2018. It's been 6 years. I started my role with PCI Security Standard Council for India, and then it expanded to South Asia.
Yeah.
And now, as you rightly said, it expanded to Middle East. It has been an exciting journey for me, and I'm looking forward to create that lot of education awareness around the standards, in the payment data security standards, and how we can protect the payment data. And that's what is critical, and I think that's what One Cyber Valley also does, is right, you're trying to help the industry stakeholders to protect the payment data by doing their audits on the standards, because you being one of the qualified security assessors, that's your role to do that kind of education awareness on the standards, and as well as help them in protecting the payment data.
Absolutely. We've been actively working in the Middle East over the last few years, and I'd like to understand why you decided to dip your toes into the Middle East and find out more about it. So tell us.
No, I mean, absolutely, it's not me. It's a PCI Security Standard Council who wanted us to focus on the Middle East, and I think Middle East is a great market to be there, to create a lot of education and awareness around the standards. And I have recently been visiting Dubai and got a chance to meet the regulators, the stakeholders. We have some great stakeholders join us as an associate participating organization from Middle East, and the market has a great potential in terms of creating that kind of an education. It's more also about the inclination towards understanding and adoption of the standards, right? And I'm traveling to Qatar next week, probably. Depending on when your podcast gets released, but I'm traveling next week to Qatar and then to Morocco. There is a lot of things happening in the market, and I would say the regulators, the stakeholders are trying to understand more, how they can protect the payment data, because see, you have to understand the cyber. The frauds that are happening, or the cyber attacks, are not just the problem of India or South Asia or Middle East. It's a global problem, right? The threat landscape has been changing, right?
Yeah.
And you have to understand the kind of threats that are evolving, right? We talk about phishing attacks, we talk about ransomware attacks, we talk about whatnot, right? They all are growing. And I think that's where we need to create a lot of education awareness in the marketplace to understand the importance of the adoption of these standards.
Yep.
And when the industry get educated, they understand, using the trusted partners to adopt these standards, right? Using the solutions that are listed or approved on the PCI Security Standard Council website, or probably using the QSs or using the ISAs which are listed, because that's where you build trust in the ecosystem.
Yes.
And once you have the trust in the ecosystem, you're able to basically go in a right direction to protect the payment data, right? So that's where the interest got us, where we thought, the marketplace like Middle East needs that education awareness, and that's where we thought that why not we just start doing it. And there has been a lot of instances where we have been requested at times that we should go out to the Middle East and create that education. And there is definitely a long way to go, but we are just trying to do a bit. And with your support, as you said, you are also into the Middle East, and with all the stakeholders' support, we can definitely meet that goal that we have to basically make sure that the adoption rate of the standard goes up in the Middle East region. So that's what made us think about venturing into the Middle East, trying to get involved with the stakeholders, create education awareness around the standards.
Oh, fantastic, and we applaud you for that, and the PCI Council.
Yeah.
It was a market that was under-fulfilled or undernourished for a few years.
Yeah.
But even since we've been in our infancy, growing up to where we've come today, we always felt there was a gap in the market in the Middle East about education, awareness, and PCI in general.
Yeah.
And we're so pleased that we're now working with some of the large companies in the Middle East. And with your support, we will help them to get compliant and stay compliant as well.
Absolutely.
Call that a cliche if not, but that's how it is. So let's talk a bit about the new standards which are out now. So version 4 is here.
Absolutely.
It's been here for a few years. But tell us, give us your take on version 4. How has it been adopted? Because we've got some home truths to tell you as well, but tell us from your side.
The PCI DSS version 4.0 is live. As you know, 3.2.1 has already retired, and I think which is the 4.0 has been an overall change in the standard, as you rightly said, right? And continuous improvement on the security is a key aspect that we have got into the PCI DSS version 4. Continuous security is important, right? What changes there are requirements that have got added to the new standard. We have best practices that have been added to the standard, which is still a best practice until next year, 31st of March 2025, right? And post that, they become the requirements altogether. So two things: multi-factor authentication has been one of the addition to the standard, and the second key is the password policy. So there are two things which probably has a major change. We have also added not even two things, it's long list, but I'm just trying to highlight a couple of areas that has got attention from the industry stakeholders. We have added new requirements on phishing, social engineering attacks, right? There are a lot of new guidance that we have provided to the standard, and this guidance can be the standard has that guidance specifically mentioned. We also have bring the different approaches to meet the requirements of the standards, right? We have got customized approach, which is one of which is the talk of the town, and we also have a defined approach. Definitely, defined approach is something that you have been traditionally doing, where the SSRs goes in and then they follow the defined objectives and the requirements are met. Where the customized approach is something that someone needs to only adopt because there are roles and responsibilities of an entity and the one who is assessing them. So there are QS's responsibilities defined and also the entity's responsibility defined. So now the customized approach, you need to specifically understand one thing, that if you are a risk mature entity, right? If you are a risk mature entity and you understand, you have been adopting to the standard of PCI, then that's the best way to adopt customized approach. And customized approach is all about when you have new emergent technologies being adopted by your organization and you want to meet with your own approaches to meet the requirements of PCI. You have to define your own control objectives. You have to define your own controls, right? And for that, you need to do all reviews, testings, everything at your end. And to bring the independence, that's where the QSA will only come into the picture when the QSA, you have shared all your data points with the SSR. They are going to come and review and say whether it's good or not, or this needs any kind of a modification. So that's the difference between the customized approach and a defined approach. And your customized approach is something, I would again say, use it if you are a very risk mature entity and you understand what risks that you have, right? So if you do not understand that, I would propose or suggest that you should not adopt to the customized approach until and unless you are satisfied with what you have, right? And one important thing that I want to talk to your stakeholders is, or to your customers, is that if you're adopting to the customized approach or to the PCI requirements, having an ISA, internal security assessor, to work with the QSA is critical. It's very, very critical, because the internal security assessors helps you understand and manage your internal audits, compliances with the standards, right? So that's where it's very, very critical. And if you're choosing customized approach, an ISA is the best put forward for you to sync with the assessors like you, where you can understand their requirements, they can work with them internally, and there's an independence.
I couldn't agree more. Let me tell you a bit about my past and when I was an ISA. So before I became an ISA, I used to always challenge the QSA coming in. I would always argue and say, no, this isn't acceptable, you need to do it this way and that way. And then I went on the course for ISA in 2012. It was with Gareth Bowker was the trainer, followed by Emma Sutcliffe from the PCI Council. So I've known them since 2012. And after passing the attestation and exam, I then learnt and began to be quiet with the QSA because I understood the pains, the issues they went through to get you PCI compliant. I never challenged them again, ever. And that was one thing the ISA exam really taught me, as to how the audit is conducted, to what levels
Absolutely.
you go through, and the pain points as well. So
Absolutely.
a great learning for me.
Absolutely.
And I will always advocate the ISA to any organisation around the world to get.
Absolutely. ISA is a great program. ISA is a great program. There's no second thought to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm now going to talk about how wonderful this city is that we're in, Mumbai, and how India has become a reckoning force within the payments industry.
Yeah.
And how you've contributed to that. So tell me a bit about, because 3 years ago we went into the India market with our eyes open, and then became pretty eyes wide shut, basically. There wasn't really a pull, but in the last 3 years I think you've turned it all around. Tell me how you've done that.
I think it's just the stars came together. So I would just give the credit to the stars. But having said that, there's a lot of background work that has been done. We have been, when I joined the council, as I started in the starting, I said 2018 October, I still remember.
Yeah.
And we were still trying to understand how do we approach the regulators, meet the stakeholders. In fact, just to give you the facts for your stakeholders or your listeners to this podcast, we had zero engagement from industry when I joined the council.
Wow.
Engagement in a point that we had zero associate participating organization. And today, that count is close to 30, touching 30, which is a great number in that time frame.
Yeah.
And we have one affiliate member, which is NPCI, which is the National Payment Corporation of India. And we have been able to get involvement across different countries, regional and the neighboring countries from India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh.
Yeah.
They have been all supportive throughout, right? Now, the point is that we started creating education. We focused on our key goal. We need to create education. We need to create awareness.
Yeah.
And we have gone all the way out to the regulators, government, meeting the companies, the QSA companies, meeting the PCIPs, meeting the ISAs. We did the first forum in India in March 2019.
Yes.
We had a great turnout. And then we did subsequently the forums online because of COVID, engulfed us.
Yeah.
This education awareness is the key for us. It took us time, but yes, the regulators understand the importance of adoption of the standards. The standards have been referenced by the regulators in the country. We have a digital payment security controls, directions by the Reserve Bank of India. There's a lot that happened, right? Because there has been a lot of education awareness. There was a lot of understanding that flowed, that has been flowing across the different industry stakeholders, and the companies, the QSA companies also supported us, right? Everyone in the in the industry, whoever has been a supporter of PCI, has actually came forward and supported us, right? That's where the journey started, and it's now you see there's a lot of I would say the adoption rate is really good at this point of time in the country. Where if you see the PCI standards being referenced by the regulators, that itself is a great achievement.
It is.
It's a great achievement
Absolutely.
for us, right? And we and that's where we thought of taking this to different countries, different regions, because education awareness is a key. That's pivotal to anything that you can think of, right? And that's where the journey has been. My journey has been with the PCI Security Standard Council, and we have been. Our role is very simple. More we go out and talk to the stakeholders, more, and that's what the role of my team is. In fact, that's the entire engagement team role is to create that education, go out in the public, speak in the conferences, make sure that we meet the right stakeholders to educate them on what's happening, what are the new updates on the standards, right? What's next that's going to come by, so that we all are updated about the new announcements that are going to come by. So that's how we have been able to, navigate through the changes that have come, and got to this level where we are just trying to create education. What we are doing today is creating education awareness for your stakeholders.
No, thank you so much for that. And one thing I have to say is I commend you for all your efforts to date. coming through the ranks and working your way up to becoming regional director.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
It's a great feat. And we can only, as I say, applaud the council for taking the South Asian market into its hands.
Yeah.
And India especially, because it's
Absolutely.
a very fast-growing environment.
Absolutely.
So Nitin, talk to me more about the community meetings. So we have obviously represented and participated within the council meetings for the last 3 years as a USA company. But more importantly, what's been your stance with the community meetings? Where have you attended? Give us some experiences that you can share with us, please.
This year is going to be interesting, Parminder. So we have a new head of engagement joined us.
Wow.
It's Dinah Greenhaw.
Yes.
And she just joined us, right? And this is going to be, that's what I'm saying, this year is going to be very interesting. And we have a new executive director, Gina Gobian. And we are seeing a lot of new changes coming in. And this year, community meetings are going to be different altogether. And especially when you talk about stakeholder engagement, we are going to talk about a lot new things that the council is going to work on, or council has already worked on. And all our 3 community meetings are going to be jam-packed for sure, because this has been a trend with the PCI community meetings. So the first community meeting is happening in the Boston in September, then we have in Barcelona, and then we have in Vietnam. And according to me, attending the community meetings, we met last year in Portland, right? And it has been a fascinating affair.
And Kuala Lumpur last year.
And yeah, definitely in Kuala Lumpur, right? So, and how can we forget mentioning about our regional VP of Asia Pacific, Yuquan, right?
Yeah.
And there is a lot happened there in these community meetings where you get to meet the stakeholders, the right stakeholders. You get to meet the executive committee of the council. You get to meet the PCI leadership, and you get to meet all those stakeholders who are working with hand in hand with the PCI Security Standard Council. More importantly, how can I forget to mention our BOA, Board of Advisors?
Absolutely.
Our principal participating organizations, our associate participating organizations. That's a one-stop shop for everyone. You get to exchange views. You get to exchange your new emerging technologies, changes that are happening. You get to know so much in these community meetings, and I'm sure this year again you're not going to miss it, and may come as a sponsor.
Absolutely.
This is what make these community meetings more special and and more enriching in terms of the content that you get, and these are all technical. Right, we are, even that you see on the speakers. Those are all evaluation happens, before they are being selected to speak at the PCI community meetings, right? So this is what is going to be the next course of action for our community meetings, and I think these 3 community meetings are going to be happening in each region: North America, Europe, and Asia. Yeah. And so this is what the community meetings are going to be. So that's where we are with the community meetings, and looking forward to this great event, mega event, I would say, going to happen this year.
Yeah, fantastic. We look forward to joining you in Boston.
Absolutely.
But something you touched upon there was the Board of Advisors. So we were the very first organisation that became a Board of Advisor when I was back in my day within a large UK airline.
Oh, okay.
A large British airline, and we were the first company to join in 2007. Yeah. BOA was first created, and since then, we've been following the PCI Council through its ranks.
Thank you, Parminder, for that.
And today we are here at I wouldn't say a precipice, but we're here at a point in juncture where we don't know where the next steps are going to take us, because it's going to be massive for the PCI industry.
Absolutely.
Payments industry.
Absolutely.
And on that note, I thank you, Nitin, for coming to us today, for allowing us to honour you in our small abode here at the West Inn in Mumbai, and we look forward to what the story holds for you going forward, and to learn more about your journey when we see you again. We look forward to joining you at one of the community meetings coming to a place near you. Thank you.
Thank you, Parminder. Thank you, One Cyber Valley, for inviting me for this podcast. Thank you. I appreciate it.